Welcome to a desert dive. We are doing a series on the Ten Commandments, and we're breaking it up the way Jesus did. He broke it up into two categories, the first of which we will be working on today. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. This encapsulates really the first four commandments, and the first being, do not have any other gods before me, which can be found in Exodus 23. The Hebrew term used here is Elohim, referring to spiritual beings of authority. So don't get tripped up with God saying that there are multiple creators. These are merely entities that at one point were given authority, and many of which rebelled, as Paul talks about with principalities and authorities, or the prince of Babylon, as we see in Daniel. So nothing to get tripped up on there. But God wants all of our worship. He doesn't want to share with anyone else. He designed us, and He loves us, and doesn't want us to put another being or object in front of Him. So the second commandment is pretty similar. Do not make an idol or carved image of any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. That's Exodus 24. It's a commandment against creating anything that you would worship, or prioritizing anything you've observed, whether it be an animal, the sun, the moon, making something that is made to dedicate to one of these other gods, as we just talked about. So it's very similar. Keep your worship to God. Don't try to create something else to be the point of your admiration. But idols can also be money. They can be relationships. They can be activities. They can be your job. Anything that you're putting your priority of. Try to determine, what would you do instead of hanging out with your family, instead of sleeping, instead of making sure that you did exercise, instead of doing what's more important, getting in the Word, praying to God, spending time in worship, going to church. What are you allowing to get in the way of that? That'll help you determine what your idols are. It's going to be different for everyone. So we must be careful not to fall into that trap. The third commandment is do not misuse the name of Jehovah, your God. And that's Exodus 27. Now here you've heard do not use the Lord your God's name in vain. You may have heard it that way. Basically it's do not blaspheme. Do not use God's name or Jesus' name, as is often the case, in the place of a curse word. You wouldn't do that for your parents, more than likely. Your mom who loves you, you wouldn't substitute her name in the place of one of those four-letter words, S-I-H-T, that sort of thing. So why do we say Jesus Christ and not mean calling out His name in prayer? Why would we do that? Why would we use someone we love's name in exasperation, frustration, or to curse that activity? We shouldn't. That's what He's asking. He's asking for the same respect that we'd really give to anyone else. The fourth and the last commandment of this first group is remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. God designed us as humans to need rest. He designed us to be able to take a break, to spend it with ourselves, and to acknowledge and to see what He has made as good, to that the creation around us is beautiful. We should take these days. It doesn't necessarily have to be Saturday. Just make sure that 1 out of 7 days you take to rest, and that periodically you take extra, holidays to, rest, be with family, do things you personally enjoy. It doesn't mean sleep the whole day. And our commandment for the Sabbath, since we receive our rest in Jesus Christ, our terms for getting rest are different than they were in the Old Testament. So it's important to seek that out, and I will do another video specifically on the Sabbath so we can discuss that in detail. But God created the world in 6 days, and He rested and blessed the seventh day, making it holy. And holy means to keep separate, to keep distinct. So God is holy, 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 unlike anything else. The Jews used holy to represent something that is altogether better, above, and separate. It's different from everything else. And when they would say something twice, it was to emphasize. If they say something 3 times, it would always adhere only to God. So keep that in mind. So only things referring to God are holy, holy, holy. It's like you might be very, very smart, but you're in that cultural context, you would be very, very, very smart. So it also shows an elevation of verbiage, or other wordage, I should say, since that's an adjective. Oh, I promise I've graduated school, right? I'll get my grammar right eventually. But anyways, something to keep a lookout for when you're reading the Word. Anyways, look forward to getting into more of the commandments with you and into some specifics about the death penalty and the Sabbath as well in later videos. And let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see. Thank you.